We're going to begin with our land acknowledgement. Unity of Bellingham is inspired by the Coast Salish peoples who have lived here since time immemorial and commit to continue with them in caring for this earth as integral friends in the sacred web of creation. We affirm the oneness of all beings in the cosmos as we each manifest in our own unique and beautiful way to be on purpose to Spirit's calling. We acknowledge the interconnectedness and interbeing of all creation and commit to living and acting in harmony with this oneness in all ways, reverently loving Earth and the web of all existence. We commit to living sustainably and healthfully in all ways, growing in our consciousness of care and showing up respectful to Earth and to all beings. We express God in all our loving actions for the Earth, for all people, and for ourselves. Now I'm going to state our opening invocation first, and then I'll ask you to join me. In the future, it will be in the bulletin. It's not quite yet. There is only one presence and one power active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well. So please join me in stating this. There is only one presence and one power active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well. Good morning and welcome to Unity of Bellingham. My name is Marie Bailey and I'm your service assistant today. And today our music ministry welcomes Cheryl Hodge, the great Cheryl Hodge, and the wonderful J.P. Falcon. Yes, we've got lots of special music going on today. The message today is being given by Reverend Frank.
Good morning, everybody. The message today, it's kind of on the front of the bulletin, it says a little bit about what we're going to be focusing on, bringing our souls to a divine standard of living and serving, like a divine standard. That's a big order, but you know, I think there's a way, and it's kind of a fun journey, and we want to talk about that journey today. And it has to do with wisdom. You'll notice we've moved into a yellow theme for the month, and we're celebrating this power, this attribute, this capacity of our lives, which is called wisdom. So we're going to ask wisdom to come in and guide us in finding this divine standard.
As we prepare now for a time of reflection and meditation, switching gears, please hold the words of this meditation hymn quietly in your heart.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, voice I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart, my soul go deeper. My soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper. My soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right where I pray.
Together, we set the intention that we hold the people and concerns of our hearts with love and affirm in prayer their highest and best good. We hold in our hearts our children, our elders, and our earth. Please feel free to speak aloud anyone or anything you would like to have included in this prayer, or simply hold your prayer intention in consciousness. And now, rest in stillness as you listen to this poem by Laura Weaver, and we'll move directly into meditation. Bearing witness. Sometimes we are asked to stop and bear witness. This, the elephants say to me in dreams, as they thunder through the passageways of my heart, disappearing into a blaze of stars. On the edge of the sixth mass extinction, with species vanishing before our eyes, we'd be a people gone mad if we did not grieve. This unmet grief, an elder tells me, is the root of the collective illness that got us here. His people stay current with their grief. They see their tears as medicine, and grief a kind of generous willingness to simply see, to look loss in the eye, to hold tenderly what is precious, to let the reins of the heart fall. What if our grief, given as a sacred offering, is a blessing, not a curse? What if our grief, not hidden away in corners, becomes a kind of communion where we shine? What if our grief becomes a liberation song that returns us to our innocence? What if our fierce hearts could simply bear witness. As you breathe now, let your attention drift into your body and feel your body becoming heavy, relaxing down, fully supported by the earth. Where do you hold grief in your body? Gently let your attention travel there now. Just breathe and notice what is present. Feel the sensation fully. Cultivating a gentle sense of curiosity around the sensation, as if you were saying to it, I'm willing to feel you now. Just you, the breath, the sensation. Simply giving it space. Simply bear witness.
Selling late night transfers, trying to make a play. People with the answers don't often pass this way. Starting from Dolores all the way to Treat, it's the last tango, 16th Street. Later that it gets, the meaner that it looks. There's a lot to learn out here, not found in books. Goddess of the winter rain, watch out for the heat when it's the last tango, 16th Street. Same old people begging quarters, stretching out their hands. Vendors selling flores from a plastic can. Some are poor but honest, others lie and cheat when it's the last tango, 16th Street. All the homeless, helpless need a place to stay, asking you for spare change, don't know what to say. The gypsy plays a melody, her broken tooth, but a smile so sweet at the last tango, 16th Street. Some of them don't see so good when they leave the bar, talking loud and ugly, stepping in front of cars. If you're carrying valuables, it pays to be discreet at the last tango, 16th Street. Dodge between the hookers, aim between their thighs. Full moon shines above the bay, you can see it in their eyes. Cat's a cap, street dog leg, heart might skip a beat at the last tango, 16th Street. It's that last tango, 16th Street. It's the last tango on 16th Street. Cheryl Hodges, ladies and gentlemen.
so much. You asked for it. I did. What happens when somebody has their song and words on their guitar, and then someone says, well, I have something to offer on the piano, and then somehow between these two, there's a third thing that never existed before, ever. There really is this important spiritual concept. It's ancient, and it goes throughout spiritual traditions. It's this intuition that the spiritual movement of things happens in threes. There's a real sense of this spiritual triadness of things. Okay, just put that there. And how many times, for those of us, we've been here together for so long, and how many times have you seen me do something like this? There's this, and then there's this, and where's the answer? Or where's the next movement of things into this third? Even the depth of in the West, there's this Christian tradition that I'm most familiar with, but you can find this in the Tao, and you can find this through all the traditions. This sense of a creator, that's sometimes the Trinity in Christianity, and there's this expression of that creator. The Word becomes manifest. They say the Father and the Son, or there's this Yahweh, this divine entity, and there's this Jesus manifestation on earth. And between them, there was a third that came and said, well, in this energy, you get it too. Let's just call it breath or spirit. It's synonymous. There's this creative energy, this expression of that energy, and breathe. There it is. Spirit. It's the Trinity in Christianity. The third thing is spirit. There is a sense, and there's a deep truth to this, that while we all live on the same planet, every single one of us is living in a different world. I mean, we've grown up, and every single one of us has our own stories, our own histories, our own families. Well, there's one thing, that's different. Our family structures. And yet, if I was to say to you that therefore, it's all subjective. You have your truth, you have your truth, you live in your world, you live in your world, you live in your world, and there is no one thing. It's all everybody doing their own thing. And you kind of go, yeah, it feels a little weird. On the other side, there's a truth. And by God, it's funny, I've noticed that when people are really convinced they know the truth, they're really convinced, and there's another truth, they're always convinced that their truth is the right one. Have you noticed that? You believe that, and I believe this, you must be right. Nobody ever says that. It's like, and I got it, Yeah, I've noticed that. There's this absolute truth. And as a scientist, I know this world. It's like, we figured it out. The earth goes around the sun. I can prove it until we prove something else, right? It's not that way. And so science evolves too. The questions we ask of science changes our answers. Let me repeat that. In the scientific method, we think we really know. We're able to prove things. But the questions we ask, we come to an answer. And if we change our question, the science shows a different answer. Is light material or is it a wave? Which experiment are you doing? I can prove it to you both ways. But we have these one extreme that says there is truth and that's it. Reality, fixed. And if you believe my dogma and repeat it enough and say the magic words, you're right. Another extreme, right? And somewhere between these two, there's a third way. It's another triad. It's another coming together of things. And so the question is, well, if I'm over here and each of us has our own story and we're our own world, but you're telling me that there's some kind of world that exists that is true, how do I find, where is it? Here it is. And how do we find that? You know, it's a fun question. You're living in your world and I'm living in my world. And sometimes I want to suggest, I've got a good little thing to toss into your worldview. Do you mind if I shake it up a little bit? I've actually asked people that. You know what their answer usually is? I know what I think. I don't need your opinion. Well, we just throw it out. Sometimes people will say yes. There's so the thing is, what are these little truth bombs we can throw out? Ooh, I like that. And how do we find these things that broaden us? Because I want to suggest, this is my experience. I'm going to just assume it's your experience as well. When I get a download of some new truth, of something new, and I feel like, oh my God, you just expanded me. That broke me open. That shit, ooh, I like it. Well, mostly like it. Sometimes I'm going, I missed the boat, but wow. And I want to suggest, a lot of times our worlds, I think we walk through our worlds and they're collapsing. They're getting myopic, they're closing down, we're getting smaller, and it doesn't feel enlivened to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Do we want our world to be expanded? Do we want to open up? Do we want to find truth? And I'm suggesting to you, it's not fixed over here, and it's not just everybody's story. There's a triad. There's these energies that point us to something that's unveiling and it's new. And can you say that the ultimate truth is going to be a thing that we know? And I'm not going to answer that question. But what I know is the movement in that is a process that we can enter to know, to change our stories, to make our lives fuller, to make our lives more filled with all sorts of new and surprising, wonderful things, if we're willing to do it. So the question is, what is this process? I'll tell you one thing that changed, that just talk about a truth bomb, something that'll really expand. I don't know about you, but I'll tell you, did you guys watch Artemis? Did you guys watch the spacecraft and the astronauts floating out and coming back to Earth and splashing down? Am I the only one that sat there and watches with tears in my eyes? It's like, what? To see the Earth rise over the moon? To see to be, so many hundreds of thousands of miles away that you're looking back on that planet and we think we're right over here and they're over there and we're all different. What? There was a space, and when I was in high school in 1977, we launched this ship and we sent out a probe and it was called Voyager 1. You guys remember this? And Voyager 1 went out and it was taking pictures and it went around the planets and it found new moons and Saturn and it found a new ring and it's all, and they kept, and we're like, amazing data. And then about 1990, when we got married, the year I got married, I was in my 30s now. From high school to in my 30s, it was almost 2 billion, with a B, billion miles away, going at about 30,000 miles per hour. And as Voyager 1 was shooting out of our solar system, somewhere on the other side of Uranus, out of the planet, and going out into deepest space, it turned around and NASA said, take one last picture of Earth. Take one last picture, 1990. And it kind of caught the Milky Way, and there was just this little bit of glare, and way you could see in this huge picture, there was this dot, just a dot. This one, and the picture is really famous now. It's called the one blue dot. And there it is. And then they shut off the cameras. They didn't want to save the energy. It took almost 2 months for the pixels of that picture to make it back from deep space to Earth. And they turned off all the cameras. Now there's just a radio signal that sends out. You go on to NASA and watch this thing almost 30,000 miles an hour heading out to, it's going to hit another solar system in about, I think it's about 1.1 billion years. We'll be around, but it's heading that way. It's just keep going. Send back a little ping to tell us where you're at. What does that, does it change the perspective on who we are as a humanity, as a species, as a being in time and place? Sometimes I think, my little myopic world is so important. My world, it's my world, I'm so important. Okay, 2 things again. I am really not that important. I exist as the microscopiest dot on a little bitty dot that's sitting out in the million of a billion planets and a billion galaxies and a universe, and maybe there's more than one. And at the same time, Scripture says every hair of your head is counted. That's how absolutely beautiful and important and essential and wonderful and gorgeous we are in the mind of the divine. We're that important. And also, little blue dot in the middle of the cosmos. And somewhere between those two, here's the triad, we find this dance between our absolute essentialness and our humility of we don't even know. And we really know a lot, and we're so important, and now we're just, And between those two, then this dance, it's like we show up in our strength and our humility. In our strength and our humility. I asked a Buddhist monk, this friend of mine, Losang, he used to come to Nevada City, they would do the sand paintings. And I asked him once, every time, you hang out with the Dalai Lama, and every time I see him, he's standing like this. And if you ever do this posture, just stick, I see him, he's like this. And I go, if I stand like this, I can't even stand up straight with my feet pigeoned like this. And I go, that doesn't look very powerful. He goes, oh, he does that. He practices this humility of being bowed and open and, simple and willing and out of his pride. And also he said he does that when he's out with you. When he's with the monks, he stands like this and he blows you away. He's so potent and so powerful that it's hard to be in the room with him. Which way is it? And there's this beautiful balance that leads us to what we are in our truth, both. And can we feel the energy there between these two? This humility and this grandeur at the same time. Yeah. I'm just thinking about the Dalai Lama and sitting in that energy. And so I was wondering, and Diane and I were talking about this yesterday, how do we get these little elements of truth that expand us, that get us, when we're feeling too like, I know it all, that bring us back into humility. But when we're in this place of too much humility, it's you actually really know something. It's kind of like when you go in and you're ready to read a book, and you're going, I'm not ready for that one. How about, that one's boring to me today. How about, oh my God, I can't wait to read this, And you're just you're so taken in. Do you know that feeling? It's like, this is the one, and it's been sitting on my shelf for 10 years, and it wasn't ready. It wasn't time. What's the energy when these different truths touch us? And I want to suggest another triad that's a fun part of us. And this is a piece of all of us. We have, and it's like these three power centers of our being. So first I want to talk about it this way, and then I want to talk about it this way. We live in this energy of we have our intellect and this power center of our mind, if you want to say mind, or our understanding. We also have this power center of our hearts. And we can go to our heart, and we say this all the time, go to your heart. And we also have this place, and we light the candle today from wisdom. It's located just above your belly button, your solar plexus. And we call it your gut. It's also, you might say, this is where we know things in our body, because we're always embodied, right? All this whole spiritual thing, it's like we're always embodied. There's a connection on that level. And so and let me see if this resonates with you. Have you ever been in a situation where, in my head, I just knew that was right, but I felt like if I said it in the way I wanted to say it to somebody, man, I would really I'd be a jerk. Do you know what I'm saying? Because in my heart, I went, yeah, that's not very loving. That would not be the compassionate thing to do. Or sometimes we lead with our body. Our whole body is going, that just feels right. And maybe it doesn't make sense in our heads, but we start aligning our heart. And And the idea of, well, what is this truth? What is this way forward? What is the way between all these things? Is I'm going to suggest it's when we can align this and this and this and get this all firing together and trust our body's wisdom and trust our heart in our sense of compassion and kindness and lovingness and presence, and also trust that there's something going on here that we can understand and make that understanding come together. Here's an important triad where they all come together. You notice the heart's right in the middle of these two things. And understanding in the depth that sometimes, and the reason it's nice to have three is sometimes we can read something that makes sense, but there's a lot of stuff people have written made sense, and it was really cruel. Seemed to make sense, but the action of it was not very heart-centric, right? And there's times we really caught something, we trust it in our body, but sometimes we have history of trauma. We have history of things that have happened to us that sort of throw us off. And it's not to say we can't trust our body, but we just have to be sensitive to, like, is this divine connection, or is this my own stuff of life that's impacting me? So we can look at all three, and when they all three align, and then what happens is we go to lunch, and we sit and we talk to each other. And you're firing off, and you're firing off, and now all of a sudden you feel it. Have you been to like, you're eating a meal with someone, you're hanging out with someone, you're talking to someone, and all of a sudden 3 hours has gone by, you're just like, woo. When we align these three and we're moving to this place of an understanding, it happens in community. It happens internally when we align. It happens in community. And the other piece of it that goes this way, here's another triad. You see all these triads, right? Is that I'm here in this construct of time now. I also have this whole flow of my ancestors. Thank you. Do add this from our discussion pre-service. I have this whole flow of information, of history, of understanding, of unfolding, of life, and all that makes me, coming from our ancestors, and all that makes human. Even Earth story flowing in, almost like it's a flow, almost like it's a soft flow, like I'm on a current. And also, there's the omega point, Teilhard de Chardin talks about, we are going somewhere. There is a truth, a life, a fullness, an allness that's saying, come this way. So we have a push from this way and a pull from this way. And we're just flowing if we attune to hear these messages. Attuned to hear. Now, I want to end today with this question for you. Because if you're following what I'm saying, this triad, this flow, these threes, we have our story, and we live in this place of story. Tell them I'm busy right now. I'll call them back. Okay. Yeah, and so we have this story, and we're moving to someplace new. But what? Oh, I know forgot where I'm going. Hold on. Yeah, no, it's fine. The mega point. Sorry, I'm laughing from the phone. You're good. Yeah, no, I got it. So we're moving towards these three. and the thing is, how do I want to get to the end, and I want to know, is this next step the right next step to go? So we check in with each other. We check in with these 3 points. You're fine. And there feels like a place where I'm aligning with this divine energy, and I can feel it in my heart, right? As I'm going forward. So what do I need to challenge my story? And what do we need to do to challenge each other's story? And is it ours to do to challenge the stories? And I'm going to suggest it is. And so we talk to each other, and we have these conversations. That's one way. We go to information, we go to books, and we align it another way. But then we can look in the world and go, is this working? Sometimes we're so convinced our story's right, and then what we show up in the world isn't working. So we have a choice. We can go, well, maybe I should change my story. Or we can go, why doesn't everyone just agree with me? Why won't you change and make it work? Sound familiar? When the story's not working, we got to ask, is there a new way to change the story? There's something in the unity tradition, so much of this is we have our mind, we have ideas, and we express them. We need to check which ideas are fertile and which ideas are working and which aren't. Myrtle Fillmore, she talks about, well, it's Myrtle and Charles. I was going to read some. I'm going to paraphrase Myrtle in my own way. Because I went back to her healing letters, and I thinking of this thing, well, how do we know truth? Unity, they always said, you're truth students. Truth students. To find the truth or to find the process that allows truth to unfold in our lives to some ultimate truth that may be beyond my understanding right now. But can I commit at least to saying, I may never know the truth, like be able to write, this is the truth. But can I commit myself to a process that the truth, I can stand in these triads, I can sit there in these energies, and I can allow what's new to unfold. You say something, I hear it, between us, we find a third way. We find a new way. We're constantly moving into this new truth. She talks about, I was reading her healing letters, and she talks about prosperity, and she talks about healing. She talks about how this all works on community. And I want to end a piece on prosperity. I want to talk about my story and the story, and when I find, is that story still working? Or is it time for me to open up and hear a new story? I'm going to read you something from Myrtle. Oh, not that. Because it's so beautiful. Yep. Yeah, I didn't, yeah. Myrtle? The only way to become permanently prosperous and successful is through the quickening, awakening, and bringing into righteous use of all the indwelling resources of spirit. So where does it start? This external starts with the mind, the idea, another triad. When we develop our soul and express its talents and capabilities in loving service to God and humankind, all of our temporal needs will be supplied in bountiful measure. Again, it's like if I'm here in the material plane and I go, I got to figure it out right here. Oh, maybe I'll just forget the world. I'll be spiritual. What is it when you say, I align with the spiritual and I see my needs and I find a way that brings full abundance? A triad again. Do you see it? This dance. Our temporal needs will be supplied in bountiful measure. We have access to a realm of rich ideas. We enrich our consciousness by incorporating these rich ideas into it. A rich consciousness always demonstrates and manifests prosperity. So again, we have the story. We change our story. Sometimes we figure out, there's problems in the world. I got to fix it on the level of the world. But that's just one part of this, right? You go, we have consciousness, we have things of the world, we put them together and we find the triad. Our consciousness works on this material environment and changes to something. Now, we want to just sit here in the material world. I got a problem in the material world. I got to solve it in the material world. And yeah, don't tell me the spiritual stuff. Or we could be, I'm spiritual. Yeah, I don't need to worry about that. I'm hungry, but I don't need to worry about that. There's a middle ground, right? There's this triad, these rich ideas that we'll express. One of the things I loved, I was playing with numbers a little bit, if you like this. If you have a triad, 3, and you had another triad of 3, I was watching this as the parachute. Did you see the capsule splash down? It was 3 parachutes. 1, 2, 3. This is how my brain works. I'm going, a triad. It's right there on the Orion capsule, splashing down on Earth. And they came down and they all attached to one capsule. A triad of triads. 3 plus 3 plus 3, and the one in the middle made 10. We talk in unity about tithing. In tithing, there was a thing that said it's 10%. And I always thought, well, that's nice about you. The idea is take 10% of all you have and say, I'm going to give this to support my vision of the spiritual unfolding of the planet. 10%. And playing with numbers, 3 plus 3 plus 3, put them together, there's the Orion. It was 10. I'm watching the Orion going, it's 10. It's 3 plus 3 plus 3, it's 10. It means like the triad of the triads on all 3 levels, and then the 3 of those all coming together to support a powerful manifestation the way we show up on the earth. And I always think of this in terms of like, in Unity, we're always using things metaphysically. So why are we getting literal about 10? So let's not be literal about it. Let's say 10, meaning like 10%, meaning like this image that's the 3 times 3 is 9, bringing it all together, and this fullness of our being. When it comes to money, here's how I think about it. I need to be responsible for my money and what I'm doing on planet Earth. I do. I mean, I need to invest it. I need to spend it wisely. I need to have a budget, all this. We can talk about it. I'd love to talk about that. Being smart with our money. The other part is little blue dot. Stop taking it so serious. Who are we? We take ourselves really serious. We're just this beautiful little blue dot in the middle of the cosmos. And I'm making a big deal about me and mine. Change of perspective. And somewhere between there, between humbly saying, it's just me, just let it go. And the other side going, it's the right thing to be responsible with our money. It is. That's a holy thing to treat our money well and to spend it well and to budget it well and support the community well with it. And in between those two is like, and I also need to let some go in humility that, do you really think you're in control, Frank? Seriously. Totally, I'm not in control. Let God's will be done. Let it go. And I'm responsible for what I need to do. I have some control over my life. I have will. I have autonomy. I can take action in the world, and that's important. And in between there's a way we move forward and go, so I can manage, and I need to let go. And I need to be in control, and I need to let it go. And here's the triad of the triad, and the third way. Just find that third way of creativity. Here's how I think about tithing. When do I feel like, here I am in the balance. Here's the creative third point. Here's where I give, where I feel like I let go over here, and I also feel like I'm open to. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you feel there's this place in the threeness where we find balance? We find balance in our hearts. We find balance through time. We find balance in our money. Our healing, we can do healing too. I can just turn it over to God, and I can go see a doctor and take medicine and do, exercise and do what I need to do. Also, I don't even know how I'm alive. How does this even work? And somewhere in between, there's a take care and a let it go and trust in the divine process for healing. Do you feel that? This beautiful middle way, this triad, this third way of evolving. Okay. So let's just end this with a piece, and we'll do a little. Think of anything that's going on in your life right now. Like maybe think of something. It can be anything from a hangnail to something you manifest in your body, a sore throat, the cold you had, a hurt knee, whatever it is. And you feel that energy where you can go, in my mind, I understand what's happening. And in my heart, I can feel that, knowing this truth of all this world is here for my good. And just feel the resonance of that. And in my gut, just knowing what's the next best thing to do. Just what my gut knows, my body knows. So I understand. I feel into the goodness of the world and how the divine is moving through me, in me, as me, bringing this beauty of this world, this planet to me. And then in my gut, just going, what is the best next thing for me? What does my body need? What's my body telling me? And you can bring this triad, this energy of heart and head and body, to all areas of your life. A health issue, a money issue, a relationship issue. You can feel the ancestors giving you gifts and the movement coming forward. You can feel the strength of your control and the humbleness of leaning into the openness of the will of the divine, which is mysterious and beyond our capability, and finding a third way. These triads are available to us. Yeah. This leads to truth. This leads to truth. Welcome to the game. Welcome to the spiritual game. Welcome to the divine play of your humanity. Welcome to each moment being rich and alive with new possibility. Each moment being a holy moment of revelation. Yeah, so it is.